Alright guys, been a really good domestic season so far, but winning all the trophies, but we know the Chatham Cup is the one with the most money, and yet again we get Western Suburbs quite early here in the fourth round. Now, they look a bit better this season, okay? They're actually up near the top of the Central League instead of Havelock North, so they might be a bit better again. Let's take them seriously, but also let's just give it to them, okay? Let's knock them out of this thing nice and early and make it nice and easy for the rest of the cup. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 159 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both Cashmere Technical and the All Whites. Hope you're doing well, and come update for the first time on camera in a little while. We'll take on the old enemy in Western Suburbs as we play them relatively early again in the Chatham Cup in the fourth round, seeing as that competition is the main money earner here in the New Zealand Pyramid. So if you're looking for it as well as some transfers that have happened now, we're in July off the back of the end of the European season. Also, with a recap on our recent form as well, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But you stay at an international window with the All Whites, where we took on Mexico and the USA, two teams inside of the top 10. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. A very good window for us there with 2 wins, and we made our way up to 15th on the world rankings. Since then, have been playing stuff here with Cashmere Tech, mainly in the Southern League, but also a little bit of the Chatham Cup. I think when we last here, we'd done that game against the Coastal Spirit, about a 2-week gap off the back of that. For that break, 2 games in the Chatham Cup and 1 in the Southern League. So to be fair, haven't got through too much getting up to the stage of the season where the games do get a bit more spread out, seeing as we've got a lot less than both the Northern and the Central League. But in terms of the Chatham Cup, second round beat the Wellington Phoenix Birds 7-0. Jonas Otto there picking up 4 goals and helped out by Jansen Kamalo and Greg Martinez, our under-20 American centre-back. And also in the third round, 5-0 over the Coastal Spirit, the same scoreline as that last game before we come back for yesterday's episode. The highlight of that one, a double to Prince Kamalo. In between that, a little bit closer in the Southern League, 1-0 over Christchurch United. Those guys do look likely to be the second team making their way through to the National League Championship. So we're through the fourth round. We've got Western Suburbs and what does look like the big clash in the round before the quarterfinals. Richmond Athletic are a club not even in the top tier here of Nelson domestic football. They're actually the club closest to where I live. They take on Christchurch United, so those guys doing quite well there in the Chatham Cup to make it that far. Nelson Suburbs look like they've got an easy draw to beat. There are a couple of lower tier Nelson clubs here in this round of the Chatham Cup, with FC Nelson taking on Tauranga City. Havelock North Napier City, that big Central League clash. Eastern Suburbs, Wellington Olympic, 2 teams up near the top of their respective leagues. That's quite a big tie. Birkenhead take on Auckland City. They have picked up their form a little bit off the back of the last couple of episodes. Auckland City, so you'd imagine they'd get through that one. Obviously, Manurewa up near the top of the Northern League should be dealing with Hibiscus Coast, but we're definitely the headline tie here in this round of the Chatham Cup. But a quick look at what's been happening in all the leagues. There's a Southern League. We're looking pretty odds on there to pick it up yet again. 7 points clear of Christchurch United and a few points back to Nelson Suburbs and the Dunedin City Royals. Going up to the Central League, Western Suburbs on top of this these days by 5 points. So a clash here between the 2 teams top of the Central and Southern Leagues, the 2 strongest leagues here in New Zealand. Wellington Olympic and Havelock North second and third, but Napier City Rovers, Lower Hutt, Miramar Rangers and even Waterside Karori aren't that far behind, so that could be quite a good finish there for those last couple of qualifying spots in the Central League. And Northern League, Manurewa these days well and truly on top. Eastern Suburbs have fallen away a little bit off the back of their hot start. Western Springs and Hamilton Wanderers inside that top 4 currently, but Manukau United, Auckland City and Melville United, even Auckland United and Mount Albert Ponsonby certainly are still in the race. Auckland City, though, have picked up their form, as you can see, off the back of a couple of days ago when we did last check in on them. So that's what's been happening domestically here in this save. But also, there's been a little bit of news in terms of our squad at Cashmere Technical. We'll just make our way over to the tactics screen, and you can see what's going on and who we are missing for this one. So the first thing you'll probably notice here is that Sam Clark is back in there in the deep lying playmaker role. Of course, this is a domestic game, which does mean we need 2 under 20 players. That is because Barcelona recalled NDUBUISI because we were playing him as a deep line playmaker in defensive midfield instead of just a little bit further forward, which is a bit pity there of Xavi, who's still in charge there at Barcelona. But yeah, no more NDUBUISI, of course, did score a really good goal in the Champions League final a couple of days ago. So it does mean Sam Clark comes back in and we lose a first choice under 20 option. So that's the reason that Shaun Hall is in goal these days. He's a player who came for a youth intake a couple of seasons ago here at Cashmere Tech. To be fair, is developing quite well, was recently away with the New Zealand under-23s in Oceania Olympic qualifying. They did win that tournament, so he's probably someone we want to give some game time to anyway, with 3.5 star potential. Could end up being a half-decent option for the All Whites down the line in the save, albeit that's probably after we wrap this one up. But it does mean that David Cifuentes back from injury. We're not going to start him, which is a bit risky considering he's a heck of a lot better. But yeah, we're kind of hamstrung there trying to find some spots for our better under-20 players here currently at Cashmere Tech, and currently getting a lot of people in on trial to see if I can find some better options. What helps with that is the fact that Wally Khaled is these days a New Zealander, so that's definitely going to help us. He no longer takes up a foreign spot and could actually get called up to the All Whites any point from now on, albeit we do still have Chris Jones and Jamie Keat ahead of him on the right wing. But to be fair, Jamie Keat is getting on these days, and Lucas Callaghild, while on the topic of the All Whites, he actually is retiring at the end of this year. The man who is at Monterrey. Let's just try and find here the tactics with the All White squad. Go and find Lucas Callaghild, of course, had a really good game against America in yesterday's episode. And he's going to be retiring actually not at the end of this year, but at the end of next season in June of 2040. So Lucas Callaghild will be disappearing about this time next year. Might sneak his way up to 100 caps between now and then, considering that partway through next year, do start to get into stuff like the OFC Nations Cup and OFC World Cup qualifying. That will take up a lot of our games in between that and the next World Cup. That's the reason I've been focusing on these friendlies against some much higher ranked teams in between now and then, because from next season, probably a lot less interesting ones that we should be winning by quite a big margin. But right wing is an okay situation for us currently, but Justin Keat, these days 31 years old, and has been a fair bit injury prone of late too in the save, so maybe he'll be a bit risky for that next World Cup, albeit a bit younger than I thought at 31 years old, not quite as old as the likes of Callaghild and Paulson, who are about to or recently retired. But Wally Khaled these days is a local option, so thankfully that does free up a foreign spot in our usual squad. But of course, we would like to have Cifuentes in goal. Can't do that because of the under-20 rule. That's the reason also Greg Martinez is starting over the likes of Hosafa as that ball-playing defender. But we have signed a player to kind of replace NDUBUISI because we've lost him, albeit it is a centre-back who was with that under-23 team who did qualify for the Olympics. This is Peter Zajic, formerly of Miramar Rangers, albeit didn't actually get a start for them in their first team, but 4-star potential, 1.5 star current ability centre-back. We'll hopefully get him used to how we play here at Cashmere Technical throughout the rest of the season, and he should be a fairly high potential player we can put alongside someone like Tim Anderson for next season, and we were able to pick him up on a free as well, so that was a good bit of business. We'll give him some game time during the course of the rest of the season, especially if we feel like Cifuentes might be better than someone like Shaun Hall in goal, albeit that would mean we'd have to play two quite young centre-backs alongside each other and drop Tim Anderson. It's definitely still shuffling with our squad here at Cashmere Tech because of the under-20 restrictions we do have domestically, and also we have signed a former player in central attacking midfield who did get released by his A-League club in Jamie Young, our current starting central attacking midfielder with the All Whites, got let go at the end of his contract there with the Wollongong Wolves, so we have picked him up and on quite a low wage, and finally have found someone a bit better than Lorenzo Janssen in central attacking midfield. We'll dump him down to the second choice option, seeing as he still hasn't committed to the All Whites for some reason, thinks Australia might call him up even though it hasn't happened yet, and these days he's in his 30s. So Jamie Young comes back to Cashmere Tech, where of course he spent a fair chunk of time off the back of us signing him from Western Suburbs quite early on in our time here at Cashmere Tech for £7,000. Didn't make too much of a profit on that deal, but that's definitely a good bit of business from us there, getting him in on a free and improvement on Lorenzo Janssen. Hopefully that might just help us be a bit better the next time we make our way to a Club World Cup. So a couple of local additions here, and of course there are still a few that could make their way in, with this being just off the back of the end of the European season. If we go over to the Dev Centre, there's a bunch of players here on trial. Hopefully can find a good foreigner who actually is first choice in one of those other areas. So maybe we can just sort out that balance a bit better in terms of who we're having to put in to that starting domestic lineup, like we are having to do here for this game against Western Suburbs. But this should be a good clash here, the top team in the Central League against the top team in the Southern League. Hopefully, though, we can knock them out of the Chatham Cup yet again as we take them on in the 4th round. And here are the team sheets for this 4th round clash in the Chatham Cup. There are Western Suburbs going with a 4-3-3 in really good form as well, just like we are here at Cashmere Tech. Our changes to our usual best 11, Hall in goal, Martinez as the ball-playing defender, and Jamie Young comes in, having been signed, of course, and does replace Lorenzo Janssen as first choice, but hopefully can pick up another win over Western Suburbs in the Chatham Cup. And to be honest, it's been a very, very boring first half this game. Western Suburbs up to nothing. We've not been much better. A couple of yellow cards for them, but we've had 3 shots, none on target, 0-0 at half time. So this, not exactly what I wanted for a game on camera in today's episode. A couple of our attackers out there struggling. Khalid and Young only on 6.4s, but I think we'll give them up until around the hour mark because they should be good enough to change this game. But so far, been pretty average. No shots on target from either team. We'll get the second half underway. Still scoreless. And just shy of the hour mark, finally a highlight in this game. It's a corner here in our favour, looking for Camalo there, right in the middle of the box. But unfortunately, that header goes just wide. Chronopoulos doesn't get tested these days. Our second choice goalkeeper with the All Whites. And only a few minutes later, a free kick over there going far post, looking for Martinez. And this might actually be a chance here for Western Suburbs on the counter-attack. Duval, he'll find Gibb. Nice ball up there for Guarneri. Back out to Gibb, and a little bit of space there down that right-hand side. Thankfully, close it down, and that pass a bit undercooked. Corona gets on the end of it now. Young to Otto. Those balls a bit weak, but thankfully still finding some teammates. A good ball in there for Camalo. Misses another good chance, and he now is on a 6.2. Let's take him off as well as Khalid on the same ring. So it's going to be Hotman Villiers at right wing and Johnston up front for Camalo. Some good replacements there. Hopefully can help us actually grab a goal in this game and get a few more shots on target. So far, Western Suburbs have done absolutely nothing. We've not been much better, but really should be on top. Still 0-0 with just over 15 minutes left. In fact, before I can wrap up what I was saying, we are now down the other end for a throw into Suburbs. They put that one far post there. I think that was looking for Cogman. Goes out there to a player. Couldn't tell the name. Bit of a mouthful, that one, but comes off the woodwork. Thankfully, all didn't have to get tested there because it looked like that one might have beaten him. And just about to make our way to the last 15 minutes of this game. Jamie Young, first game back, struggling a little bit there in central attacking midfielder. Tristan Turner can come on for him. Probably would have actually had Lorenzo Janssen on the bench instead, because it might take him a while to get used to what we usually do here at Cashmere Tech, albeit thought that might stick from All Whites duty, but thankfully just snuck our way to the last 10 minutes of this game. A corner, and Otto puts that on the head of the former Western Suburbs man into Manderson. Heads that one home just inside of the post here on the near side. Good heel that into the ground. Chronopoulos can't quite get there. So Tim Anderson there with a big goal against this former club to make it 1-0 based on stats. We do deserve it based on the fact really that Western Suburbs haven't done anything at all in this game, albeit a couple of chances now in the second half. Both of them come off the woodwork that time from a free kick. Off the back of that, we will start to time waste a little bit and pull our wingers back on to support the ones previously on attack, our right back and our left winger. Also slow the pace down from our goalkeeper and just do that time wasting stuff, as well as be a bit more disciplined. All our subs usually, let's see what happens in the last couple of minutes of this game, which to be fair, won't be the longest one. But yeah, it was the best game I could think of coming up during the course of the time I need to get something done. For today's episode, we pick up a 1-0 win. So definitely not the most entertaining game, but thankfully we get Western Suburbs out of the cup here in the 4th round. Pretty similar to what we did last season, but this time a pretty average game. Thankfully, we actually got some shots on target, unlike them, and go for off the back with a Tim Anderson header, 1-0. So a short but sharp game for us there in today's episode. That one in the 4th round of the Chatham Cup, not the best one, but we do knock out Western Suburbs, and as you can see on screen, that sets up the quarterfinals. All Southern League clash. We will take on Christchurch United. Hopefully, we'll be able to beat those guys a bit more comfortably than we just did to Western Suburbs, and also compared to the last time that we took them on, which was in between those Chatham Cup games, a 1-0 win. So to be fair, it could be a little bit tough, but that game is still 21 days away currently in that annoying part here of our Southern League season where the games are very, very well spread out, but it will pick up in September when we get into the National League Championship, and hopefully as well the Chatham Cup final, which we should be coming back for in tomorrow's episode before that next international window where we take on Argentina and Australia with the All Whites, albeit two teams we did take on in a window last season. The other games in the quarterfinals of the Chatham Cup, Havelock North will take on Western Suburbs. That's a decent game. Tauranga City against Auckland City, a decent clash there. Tauranga City formerly in the Northern League for a couple of seasons, and Manurewa will take on one of Eastern Suburbs or Wellington Olympics. So things definitely getting interesting now in the Chatham Cup that we've made our way through to the quarterfinals, hopefully get past Christchurch United at the very least, and we'll probably come back tomorrow and wrap this competition up either with the semis and final or just the final if we get a kind draw in the semis. But that will do it for today's episode. Not the greatest game there, but thought it might be a tricky one against Western Suburbs. It kind of was. Not the best game though, but thankfully pick up a 1-0 win. If you enjoyed it as well as the squad moves that have been made, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. As I said, tomorrow we'll come back and do the latter stages of the Chatham Cup, hopefully pick it up again here with Cashmere Tech, and before then we might have a few more players here at Cashmere Tech. Hopefully have signed a couple of those ones who are on trial, hopefully boost our under 20 options there with our first team, so the likes of David Cifuentes can get back into that lineup. But until tomorrow, hopefully for the final of the Chatham Cup, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.